Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Landskrona, which is just a little bit up from me here in Skåne in southern Sweden, and we're going to do my first review from Brygghuset Finn for over a year actually. They've just released this beer through the små partiers in Systembolaget here in Sweden. So for this one we're having a taste of their Wheat Blanc, which as you may have guessed is a wheat beer, and it comes in at 5.7%, so it should be quite nice. This is actually the highest rated beer that they've produced so far according to Rate Beer, so I'm quite interested to try this one. The last beers I had from these guys I thought were really kind of easygoing, sessionable beers, so I'm really interested to see how their take on a wheat beer comes out, because that's probably one of my complaints about the German Hefeweizens actually, is they are quite heavy beers. I do like them, but I can only actually drink one of them, so I'm interested to see if these guys can pull off a wheat beer that is in a similar fashion to the other ones that they've produced before. So it should be a quite nice beer, and it's always of course good to try beers from your local breweries as well. So I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from these guys before. No doubt I'll add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, of course, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is of course hugely appreciated. So don't hesitate to get in touch through Facebook, Twitter, Untappd, whatever you want. It's always great to hear from you guys. So anyway, Brygghuset Finn, as I mentioned to you, are based in Landskrona, which is between Lund and Helsingborg here in Skåne in southern Sweden. It's maybe about a 15-minute train ride north from me here in Lund. But the company was actually founded by two former students of Lund University. So this was Peter Lindholm and Simon Fenberg, who actually studied entrepreneurship at the university, of course, the same university that I'm at here in Lund. But as part of their course, they actually had to create and plan a fictitious company, and they decided to plan a brewery for this project that they had to do. So Simon was actually an avid home brewer, and he had brewed beer during his time in the university halls of residence, where they actually had their friend Joachim, who was the guinea pig for many of their early beers, and he's now the company CEO. But after finishing university, they actually found what they described as a perfect location for the brewery behind the old railway station in Landskrona. So they actually ordered some custom equipment at the end of 2013, and they produced their first beers for sale in early 2014. And since then, of course, they've been expanding their range and their capacity as well, and they are doing pretty well for themselves. These beers are quite easy to find in a lot of different restaurants and bars around Skåne here. So really quite cool to see that some of my kind of fellow Lund University alumni are actually doing brewing and things. So maybe it's something I need to consider when I finish up my physics study. We'll just see how that goes. But just to list the other beers you can get from these guys then, there's the California Lager, the Brown Ale, the IPA, the American Pale Ale, and they do have a winter ale that comes out seasonally as well. And they've got various other kind of limited release beers as well, which I think just go to restaurants or go in casks and things like that. So do keep an eye on their Facebook page and stuff, and you can see all the different things that they're doing. I will put links to those in the description below. Likewise, if you want to learn more about this brewery, do have a look at the brewery website, which you'll find down there too. But yeah, that's enough about the brewery just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So like I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 5.7% wheat beer. Let me just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. It's the typical Brygghuset Finn style artwork on this one. The light, of course, will play a little bit of havoc with this. It's a bad colour scheme for the camera, this one. White and gold, of course, can be a bit of a pain when you're filming, but you can see there's the Brygghuset Finn bottle cap. I think all of them are the same, this gold with black, but all of these beers have a very similar style of artwork. Like I said, it's just a different colour depending on what beer it is you've actually got. It tells you a little bit about the back. It's a wheat beer created with yeast, and it just tells you a little bit about the flavours, and it's named after a district in France, of course, says something like that. So yeah, it should be really quite a nice one. 5.7% beer. It is an organic beer, I should point that out. There you can see the European organic symbol on the back of the bottle there, which is nice. And that's one of the other things I should point out about this brewery, is they actually do a lot of work with the Institute for Sustainability at Lund University. My flatmate, of course, is involved with that, and he was telling me that these guys actually are quite heavily involved with the university in trying to create like a sustainable brewing process. So they are a very green brewery, and it's quite interesting actually. I maybe need to get in contact with them and learn a little bit more about that for my next video. But yeah, should be quite interesting. Like I said, this beer is actually the highest rated one they've produced so far according to Rate Beer, so should be quite interesting. I found their beers to be really quite easy going and sessionable before. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured exactly as you'd expect from a wheat beer. It's a big, bright, kind of a golden yellow colour, this one, really nice. There's a finger and a half, maybe 2 fingers actually, of a frothy white head. It is perfect white as well, it's not even cream coloured, it is completely perfect white. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there is a degree of transparency to this beer, but it is mainly quite opaque actually. It is pretty much opaque actually, there's very little light coming through that. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few bigger ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. There's not much in the way of smaller bubbles of carbonation visible with this beer, but looks very nice and exactly as you would expect from a wheat beer. So yeah, it should be quite nice. I can just see the lights playing up a little bit in the camera. That's just of course because the artwork and stuff is white and the lights reflecting into the camera, so we'll just try and be careful with that. But yeah, as you can see, a really nice looking wheat beer, this one. In terms of the aroma with this one then, it actually smells really bready and yeasty. You know, it's exactly what you'd expect, but it's a little bit less bubblegummy and banana. There's not as many of those kind of aromas coming out of this one as you'd normally expect. It really does lean more towards the kind of white bready side of things. There's a little bit of that yeasty character in there. You can smell the nice smooth wheat. There's a wee bit of a kind of clovey spice coming out of this one as well. But as I say, not much in the way of the usual banana and sort of bubblegum thing that you expect from this style. It's actually quite a light aroma, this one, in terms of some of the wheat beers I've come across before. I really do enjoy some of these big hoppy American style wheat beers that you get these days with some of the tropical fruits and the orange fruits and things like that. They can turn out really nicely. But yeah, it does smell quite nice, this one, really leaning towards these bready characters like I'm saying. There's a bit of light grassy hop in there. Some floral character as well, but mainly grassy, I would say. And you've got a little bit of just a sort of light lemony citrus fruit. It's almost like a lemongrass character that's coming out of this beer actually. But it's a very kind of, as you'd expect from these guys, as I mentioned to you, their beers tend to be very light and kind of easy going. It is quite quite subtle and quite well blended aroma, this one, rather than being really punchy. But yeah, should be a really nice beer, this. So let's get stuck in. This is the Wheat Blanc, the new wheat beer from Brygghuset Finn up in Landskrona here in Skåne in southern Sweden. Let's get stuck into this beer then. Skål! That's nice. That's a good beer. You know, I can see right away why this is probably the best beer that they've produced so far, or at least it's been rated as that. The other ones are quite light, just easy going. This one's got a bit, it takes the flavour to the next level, to be honest with you. This one has a lot more flavour in it than the other beers that I've tried from these guys. That is nice. Yeah, if you get the chance to try this one, I recommend that you do. They've pulled this beer off very nicely, and to be honest, the amount of flavour you're getting out of this beer, when you consider the fact that it's also an organic beer as well, that's pretty impressive. That is really impressive with this one. That's a really good feat for these guys. You know, thumbs up to Brygghuset Finn for this one. That's good. I do like how that's turned out. I mean, their other beers are nice enough, but they are, I mean, this one just, it takes the flavour to the next level. I mean, as I always say, beer is subjective. Some people like the really light kind of sessionable beers. I like the ones that are kind of big, beastly flavours, and you know, this one is starting to get into that kind of area for Brygghuset Finn. So I think that's quite an achievement for me, is that you can get an organic beer that starts to hit this note. Make no mistake about this one though, the flavour profile you get off this one is slightly different from what you'd expect from a straight up German Weizen. This guy, you know, it has a little bit of Saison quality to it, but it also has some of the German Weizen characteristics, and it's got some of the wheat beer characteristics from Belgium as well. So it's somewhere in the middle of that. It's got quite an interesting kind of almost grainy character to the malt base, this one, and that's probably the organic malts coming out actually. Yeah, I would stick with that actually, you know. It's really just nice how this one comes off. I can always, it's always quite interesting because when you get organic malts, they do tend to give you a certain mouth feel actually with the beer. So, and you can pick that up a little bit in this one, but as I say, I'm impressed with the flavour profile that this beer has as an organic beer. So let's just analyse the flavour a little bit more then. So with this one, as I said, you can feel that nice kind of light pale malty character. It just goes right across the middle of the tongue. You can feel some of the almost grainy characters coming out of this one in the middle of the palate too. There's a big yeasty presence to this one. The wheat actually is quite smooth and almost a little bit sweet. It does, the wheaty character in this one does come across as a little bit sweet, and it mixes very well with those big yeasty characteristics that are coming out of the beer. But that's a nice beer. Really, if you get the chance to try this one, have a go at it. It really is very nicely done. As I was picking up with the aroma with this one, there's not too much in the way of the bubblegummy or sort of banana flavours out of this one. It's something completely different. It's got quite a citrusy character to it, this one, that's quite interesting. There's a big kind of doughy sweetness to this one actually, which is really quite interesting. It's got a strong citric presence. If you just go behind the front curve of your palate, you'll feel that little oily bubble, and there's a little bit of kind of almost lemongrassy character coming out of there, but if you just go a little bit behind that, for me there's a strong citric character in this one, which I do guess is coming from the yeast. The hops are quite straight up in this one as well. There's a little tiny bit of earthy character there in the back corners of your palate, but then as you come further forward it becomes a little bit more floral, and like I said, around the front curve of the palate it's a little bit lighter and grassy as well. But it's nice. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this beer again. One thing I would say about this is I would love to try this with the cask conditioning that we have back home in Scotland. I think just with a slightly little bit of a thicker mouthfeel without some of the carbonation in this one, I think that would be really nice with this beer. But for me, that is nitpicking. That is absolutely nitpicking with this beer. It's really nice as it is. But yeah, I do like how this one comes across. It has some of the, as I said, it has some of the flavour profile you'd expect of a German Weizen, but it's also, the malt base on this one for me does lean a little bit more to what you'd expect of a Belgian wit beer. It's maybe even got a little bit of a Belgian blonde characteristic to it as well, with some of those citricy notes that are coming out of the beer and some of the floral character that it has as well. But for me, you know, this is really nice, and to be honest, it is straight up, it is hands down the best beer that these guys have done so far. The other ones, like I said, are quite easy-going ones, but this one takes the flavour profile to the next level, and it is quite cool to see that you can produce a beer with this with this strength of flavour with organic ingredients. That's an interesting point to make about brewing in Sweden these days. So a big thumbs up to Brygghuset Finn for this one. In terms of recommending this beer, you know, I think you will enjoy this one if you enjoy German Weizens, and you will also enjoy it if you enjoy Belgian wit beers. If you like a combination of the two, or if you would like some sort of fusion of the two different styles, then I think this one really is going to hit the spot for you. I think it would be very nice if it was conditioned in the way that we get some of these cask beers back home, but as I say, that's absolutely nitpicking with this beer. The mouthfeel of this one, I'd say it's mid-bodied. To me, it actually feels a little bit heavier than some of the Weizen beers that I've come across before, or even the wit beers. It does have a little bit of that, the wit beer mouthfeel to it. It's just that little bit thicker than some of the German ones probably. I think that's a fair statement to make with this one. Carbonation is quite soft on this. It's got a little bit of a creamy but also slightly oily mouthfeel. So it's got a little bit of the oil character that you'd expect of the German one, but then it's got the creaminess that you'd expect of the Belgian style, which is quite interesting. There's a little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. There's a good sweetness to the malt base in there. It's quite creamy, like I said, and very smooth actually, and there's just a little bit of that kind of citrusy fruit character coming off this beer. But overall, like I said, this is a really quite nice beer, and hands down it's the best one that I've had from Brygghuset Finn so far. So I do need to make sure I try their brown ale and some of their other things that they do as well. It's been the winter ale, and I think it was the pale ale that I tried before, so I'll need to have a go at their IPA and their brown ale, and I think they had a porter for a while as well, so I'll need to have a go at that one and see how I get on with that. But this one is by far the best one that I've reviewed for you here on the channel. So big thumbs up to Brygghuset Finn for this one, and keep brewing your beers in this style, because I think this is the thing that would take them to the next level. But for me, another really quite nice beer. So yeah, if you get the chance to try this one, I think it's quite widely available in Skåne. I'm not sure about the rest of Sweden right enough, but if you get the chance to try this beer, I do recommend you have a look at it, and it's particularly impressive that this is an organic beer. Pardon me. So yeah, a really quite nice beer, this one. Try it if you get the chance. But anyway, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Really cool to try such a good beer for one of my local breweries here in Skåne. Long may it continue from these guys, and it's really cool to see folk kind of breaking down the barriers when it comes to organic brewing as well. So this was the Wheat Blanc from Brygghuset Finn in Landskrona here in Skåne in southern Sweden. Make sure you give this beer a try if you get the chance. So until the next time, Slange just now, I will catch you guys very soon. Thank you for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. And I will catch you very soon with more beer reviews. Make sure you check out some of these Brygghuset Finn beers. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below as well. Slange just now.